So, one of our coworkers at the restaurant returned today. I haven't seen this man in 3 weeks. Last week he was going to arrive. There was no ice around his house up until 30 minutes around his place. And he's been kind of scared just to take out the garbage. And so to see him today, it was refreshing, but also boosted the morale of like the whole entire staff a bit, which is really nice, really needed. And it was fun to see. I think he was surprised, okay? Like, when you're gone for a while and then you're surprised with who hugs you at the job. Yeah, there's been times where I come back from vacation, I'm like, he hugged me? What? He hugged me. What? Are you okay? Did I hallucinate? I feel like he had that moment because you could see it in his face. can't hide that face of like you can't deny that, okay, right? But it was just really nice. It's good to see him. And we've hired a couple of people since, and that's been nice. And then one of my other coworkers, she's been back now for maybe 2 weeks, and that's been beautiful. And then she's moved since she was in that, where the drums were to keep ice awake during the night. That's where she was. She moved away from there, so I think that's giving her a lot more peace. It's a beautiful area that she moved to. Digress, because I'm from that place. I'm not biased or anything. But it was really nice to were we full staffed? Yeah, we were fully staffed. And we haven't been fully staffed in at least a month. And I count my blessings every day. But it's very interesting to see how things are changing. But also, there's still one person we're not going to see again. Because he officially quit. Because it's just, he's in a hot spot right now. And it's just, you have to do what brings you peace. And I totally respect that. And then there's one girl, we have yet to see her. And it's been at least 3.5 weeks. And I hope I want to say she feels safe soon, but it's kind of like that. It's sensitive, right? She's not a criminal or anything and whatnot, and she's working on her legalness, and it's just, God, we miss her. We miss her as a friend. We miss her as a jokester that she is. And even she doesn't know a lot of English, but you can still joke around with the gist of the Spanish that it's like that relationship. But you still can bond and get to know each other. It's still, there's body language and the gist of the Spanish you can understand and still translate. So it's just we miss you. And then I was talking to, she's one of her prep ladies. So I was talking to one of the other prep ladies. And she's been a rock. She's been a saint with the prep. I don't think we'll go back down to limited menu anytime soon. Damn. But I get it. It was just nice. It was just nice. But she's been a rock. But she and I had a conversation about it and how she misses working with her friend. And I can definitely emphasize Jeebus. Sympathize, Lord. That was hard for me. Again, after work brain. Sorry, not sorry. But it felt good. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a situation where it's very uncertain, I suppose. And through my journey, I've learned to embrace the uncertain and understand the color of my skin, and I understand that as well. But there's so much goodness that can happen when things are uncertain, and especially with like the people that have been standing up to what's going on. And God, that's so refreshing. But yeah, that's been tremendous. And then I think the city was on like the Time magazine cover. That was extraordinary. And then nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, like the city is. And I thought that was very, very commendable, but very interesting. Because again, it's still part of that like uncertainty, right? Like you can't see really what's going on, right? We're not all psychics. We're like, oh, what's gonna happen next? Because it's like, going back to what my coworker and I were talking about. It's like I've lived in fear before, and I've looked at the dark a little bit too long before, if you know what I mean. And I almost didn't make it out. So I can't imagine living in the amount of fear that people are living in. I can't imagine that life. To me, that's not even living. And yes, I understand the color of my skin. I see it. I'm white. I don't know what to tell you. But I also know that if you sit in the darkness too long, it does consume you, and it does suck your joy, and it does kind of ruin you as a person. And like I said, was it 7.5 years ago? I almost didn't make it. Like, I almost didn't make it out. But that wasn't, due to like immigration. That was due to losing my dad and my boyfriend at the same time. My boyfriend didn't die, but we we broke up on the day of my dad's funeral because he fucked up. Okay. He fucked up. He drove there. I'm going to share it later, but he drove there drunk. It was just not a good situation. I was like, what am I doing with this man? It's just not good. And that was before I was working on my self-worth, but it wasn't where it is today. We'll just put it at that. Let's just put that at that, yeah. Yay, lessons. But it's something I wanted to share because it's like, again, there's like uncertainty, but it was still really nice and refreshing to have just like a boost of morale at my work, at a restaurant that I really enjoy working at. And it's like you can tell when people are scared, and you can tell when people are sad and upset or affected, and it really does change the work environment and how service goes, what the food tastes like. It's everything, if you don't know that. There's this so on the line, I'm making a tangent, but on the line there's I used to have a satay partner, but now it's like a sandwich burger guy. I don't know how to describe him because he does more than that. But either way, I used to have old sour stations of satay used to touch, and I would help the satay guy plate, essentially. And I don't know if he still does it. I think to a point when he gets upset and frustrated, I think he still does that. but he'll like cook with hate and malice. And I would fix that. I would put like love and light into it. I would like clear it, and then while I was playing, like love, light, intention, and then you send the food, because you do taste the difference. Because it's like it's energy, right? It's like that exercise when you kind of bless your bottle, like your makes it sound like babies. That's not what I meant. But it's like you can put an intention into your water. Like, hey, I want to feel joy. Hey, I want to feel happiness. Hey, I want to feel abundant, or, whatever your intention is. And you can put that energy into your water bottle, and then you drink it. And then now it's in your body. So it's kind of like what you do when you're making food. So it's like, I always think about how everyone's stressed. Everyone's living in fear. And now we're making food for people. And I'm just like, and then you hear like the stories of the servers. They shouldn't say anything to us on the line, but that's how it sometimes goes. I'm not running it, okay? It's not my circus. It's not my monkeys. Because you would never do that. But either way, and then, the servers complain about like how, cranky the customers are, or, whatnot. Oh, there was this time where we were doing limited menu, and one of the servers comes back and she's like, I'm getting complaints that there's a limited menu. And I was like, do people just not understand? She's like, no, she doesn't understand. I'm like, and that was a time when we were down, I think we were down like four or five people when we did like limited menu. And they're like, oh, I'm getting complaints. I'm like, yeah, I guess. I guess you're getting complaints. Because it's like, not only is it limited, but now if we have stressful and hate and all this like emotion going into the food that we're making, it's something I always kind of thought about. And now it's like, the morale is a little bit better at work, and it has been the last couple weeks, especially, seeing a couple people come back. That's been really helpful, even though there's still like some anger and fear, but I feel like it's not as prominent, especially it's like, the best way I could describe it is like, there's usually distress, and then you can choose how to feel about in spite of it. Like, you can still hold space for what's going on, and then you can still feel the way you want to feel. So it's like, last few weeks I've brought in treats at least 2-3 times. I think 3 times. 3 times. Just because it's like, I can't fix everything. And the most I could do at where I work is make the cheesiest puns, because it creates smiles and that little like chuckle. I live for that shit. And some treats, like Starburst came out with sour Starburst. That was really good. Not too sour, but like pleasant, just enough. That brought some smiles. And then I made a couple other treats. I'm not here to gloat. Am I bloating? Fuck, I'm not bragging. That's not what I meant. That's fine. It's fine. Either way, when a smile happens and when giggles happen, it just kind of reminds you of like, there's still goodness, right? Despite of what's happening, and it's important to hold space for that. So it's like, either I'm like the light at my work, And I can do what I can to fill my cup. So when I get to my work, when I get to my restaurant, I can be the best version of myself that I can be, and kind of set the pace and the energy for everybody, while still holding space for what's happening. But I can still hold both, and that's really a gift. Because again, it's just, I've looked in the darkness and I've stayed there too long before, and I don't want to do that to myself again. And I never thought about that before, as like a infliction on me. But looking in the darkness too long, where you're like, it was intense. I'll talk about it later on. I can talk about it. This is not the point of the video. But it's just like, you could hold what's happening, but you could also hold the energy of what you want to feel instead. And I want to feel peace. I want to feel joy. I want to feel happiness. And I want people to feel supported when they're around me. And if I could do that and set that standard at my job, then that's what I'm going to do. While I'm still holding, like my coworkers who are scared, and their families and their loved ones. I can still hold them, but I can still have this and at the same time. I know people sometimes call that duality, but honestly, I kind of just see it as balance, right? There's always like good and bad. I'm like, it's labeling. We're better than that. We're bigger than that. So that's why I was like, I like balance, right? I like balance. Balance brings me peace, and things will balance out. But I just wanted to share that because it's like taking those moments, those like wins, Mine is just like a simple example at the restaurant that I work at. But tomorrow is Saturday. We're busy. It's weird because it's like, it's winter and it's slow season, but Friday, Saturday, you wouldn't even know it's winter. Like, that's how busy it is. And that's what volume that we've been doing, even like short staffed. And we're just like, I'm just grateful that we have people feel safe enough to come to work. And hopefully more people, even in the whole establishment, because I work at a hotel too, they feel more safe to come to work too. And I hope this, how do I put this, balances out in a nice, gentle way. So I want to share that with you, and let me know. I'm curious, like, what have you noticed with your work or with your job? How is the environment? How has it shifted? Has it improved? Has it kind of stayed the same? I want to know. And if you're comfortable, I would love to hear from you down below in the comments, and we can have a safe chat about that, because it's important for you to express what you're feeling and what you're going through as well. So that is what I wanted to talk about here at Between Moments with me, Carrie Ray, and I will see you in the next one.